Welcome to Mixtape Videos. In our last video, we shared our top 10 greatest NBA players of all time. However, we wanted to get your input on the topic, so for the past couple of weeks, we let our viewers vote on who they thought were the greatest players in NBA history. Well, the results are in. Let's see what you, the viewers, said. Number 10, Scottie Pippen. There's always a measure of controversy when Pippen is brought up. Some say he's overrated, some say he's underrated, some say he was just as good as Jordan or maybe second all-time to Jordan. We don't have time to take an in-depth look at him in this video, but he definitely had an illustrious career. Aside from the 6 championships, Pippen made 8 all-defensive first teams, 3 all-NBA teams, and is a 7-time All-Star, even winning All-Star MVP in 1994. He was top 10 in steals 5 times and is actually number 6 all-time in that category. He was definitely the Robin to Jordan's Batman, but they made a great team. In fact, they were just about an unbeatable team. Number 9, Tim Duncan. Duncan showed up at 9 on our list too, so it looks like we're pretty in tune with the viewers on this one. It's hard to argue Duncan's spot in history. With his rings, MVPs, and skill set, his status is pretty concrete. Just about the only debate surrounding Duncan is whether he's a power forward or a center. Well, he's listed as a power forward for 10 seasons and as a center for 8 seasons, so we're calling him a power forward. He's 11th all-time in offensive rebounds, 3rd all-time in defensive rebounds, and 8th all-time in total rebounds. Basically, he's just a very good rebounder. He's also 6th all-time in blocks, 14th all-time in points, 3rd all-time in defensive rating, and 6th all-time in win shares. Number 8, Wilt Chamberlain. Wilt Chamberlain was so good, they had to change the rules just to match his size and skill. Wilt holds over 70 records. He averaged nearly 23 rebounds for his career. He scored 65 or more points 15 times and 50 or more points 118 times. Probably just about the only thing we can't marvel at were his blocks, since those weren't counted during his career. However, Harvey Pollack, known for being the best stat keeper of the time, would track Wilt's blocks and said that one night, Wilt got up to 25 blocks in a game. Some say Wilt would never be as good today as he was back then, since the competition back in his day wasn't as high as it is now. That may be partially true, but keep in mind that he still played against guys like Bill Russell, Jerry West, Oscar Robertson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Bob Pettit, Jerry Lucas, and Elgin Baylor, just to name a few. Take a look at their career numbers and then try to say the competition was too low. Number 7, Larry Bird. Bird was one of the greatest shooters of all time, hitting some of the biggest shots in NBA history. He had the fortune of playing with some other great players like Robert Parrish and Kevin McHale, but he was still able to stand out on his own, proving himself to be the MVP on a team full of legendary players, and that's saying something. By the end of his career, he had won 3 championships, 2 finals MVPs, 3 regular season MVPs, made the All-NBA first team 9 times, and had 12 All-Star appearances. Number 6, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. It looks like we're not the only ones who put Kareem above Wilt. Honestly, you can make a case for either one being better than the other, but you can't argue with Kareem's longevity, and that's got to mean something. To be able to average over 20 points a game for 17 years is absolutely amazing, and the battles of Wilt versus Kareem weren't as lopsided as you would think. In fact, Kareem got the better of Wilt on many occasions. Maybe Kareem never had a season like Wilt's 50-point season, but their career numbers are very similar. And who can forget the skyhook, the most unstoppable shot in NBA history? Number 5, Steve Nash. Trust me, we're just as surprised as you are about this one. Believe it or not, this is what you, the viewers, voted on. And really, Steve Nash did have an amazing career. He's a 2-time MVP and is 3rd all-time in total assists. That's above Magic Johnson. Nash also has the highest career free throw percentage in NBA history, has the third highest assist percentage, again above Magic Johnson, and is 10th all-time in assists per game and offensive rating. To show how efficient and skilled Nash was offensively, he had 4 50-40-90 seasons and just barely missed that mark on several other seasons. Maybe it's the lack of championships that makes some people dismiss Steve Nash, but he's definitely solidified his spot as one of the greatest point guards of all time. Number 4. Kobe Bryant. After 19 years in the league, it looks like the best of Kobe is in the past, but we can still marvel at his career. Kobe is a 5-time champion, 2-time Finals MVP, a 17-time All-Star, and was selected to the All-NBA First Team 11 times. He's 3rd all-time in total points and 11th all-time in points per game. Many people harp on Kobe's supposed inefficiency, but he's actually 7th all-time in offensive box plus minus and 12th all-time in offensive win shares. Kobe is a polarizing player, but he has the hardware to back up his status as an elite player and one of the greatest of all time. Number 3. LeBron James. Here was one that upset a lot of people by being left off our list. There's no mistake that LeBron is a great player and easily the greatest player of this generation. He's won 2 championships to go along with 2 Finals MVPs and 4 regular season MVPs. He's already 20th all-time in total points and 2nd all-time in PER. He's 4th all-time in points per game for the regular season and 5th in points per game for the playoffs. LeBron has some commendable achievements under his belt. We left him off our list because he's still in his prime and his numbers reflect that, whereas the other players on this list have already suffered through their decline and their numbers reflect that as well. Where will LeBron be in PER, win shares, points per game, total points, etc. by the time he retires? He's on pace to be the greatest, but he hasn't done it yet. Number 2. Magic Johnson. Magic had some of the most amazing assists of all time and was fun to watch. During his 13-year NBA career, Magic accumulated 3 MVP awards, 3 Finals MVP awards, 10 All-NBA first-team selections, 5 championships, and 12 All-Star appearances. Magic Johnson is 5th all-time in total assists, not bad for what most would define as a short career, 18th all-time in steals, and 1st all-time in assists per game. Magic Johnson had an amazing career and is perhaps the greatest point guard of all time, depending on who you ask. Number 1. Michael Jordan. So we and the fans agree, Jordan is by far the greatest player of all time. Speaking of longevity, Michael Jordan is the oldest player in NBA history to lead the league in scoring with 28.7 points per game, which he did in the 97-98 season at 35 years old. When he was 40 years old, he dropped 43 points on the New Jersey Nets. When he was 38 years old, Jordan scored 51 points against the Charlotte Hornets. To show how far above the competition he is in the scoring category, Jordan holds the record for the fewest games needed to reach 31,000 points, which he did in about 1,000 games. 48 games after that, Jordan had reached 32,000 points, also the quickest in NBA history. People say Wilt Chamberlain was the greatest scorer ever, but did you know it's Michael Jordan who holds the record for the most career games scoring 30 or more points at 562? He also holds that same record for the playoffs, along with the most 40 and 50 plus scoring games in the playoffs. We could go on. Basically, there's nothing that any other player did that Jordan didn't do better when you consider reasonable constraints based on position. It wasn't the media hype or the marketing. He didn't get lucky with publicity. He simply was and is the greatest player of all time. So those are the results. What do you think of the viewer rankings? Let us know in the comments. Make sure you thumbs up and share this video and subscribe for more awesome NBA content.